Hey, welcome to the Privacy and Freedom Podcast. I'm your host, Forrest. Thank you for joining us. I hope you listened to the first podcast we've ever done in the Privacy and Freedom Podcast. It was where I introduced the show. Travis interviewed me as the first part of the interview. This one, podcast number two, we're releasing live nationwide. Um, we're releasing where Travis finishes the interview, and it's 30 minutes or so. But I hope you enjoy it. If you got questions or comments, please contact us down below. I have a way to subscribe to get in our mailing list where I can tell you when we release a new podcast. You can submit questions as well because I want to hit questions when it comes to privacy, security, when it comes to crypto or investing or like financial trust or how to protect your assets, how to get your kids involved in a business. And then anything faith-based as well. I do, I've written a Bible study, written a couple books faith-based. So this is a mosh podge of what I'm interested in. And you know what? I hope you'll jump on this little train and we'll build this community and we'll grow together. My goal is to make you successful in every aspect of what we talk about on this podcast. And so we can make this our podcast. You guys can help me. Still haven't done my first video with a selfie stick yet. I'm still terrified, but we'll do that soon. But hey guys, enjoy this interview and make sure you catch the next one, which where I'm going to introduce the song that we had AI. And we didn't well, we put a lot of text in there and stuff. But tell me what you think. But that's going to be the third podcast will be the song that we had AI generate for us, and it's pretty awesome. I'm just saying. It could win awards for sure. So anyway, I hope you enjoy this interview. God bless, and we'll see you next time.
Well, yeah, I mean, I think it's actually you're answering some of the questions I have,
Okay.
but it's like what made you start the Privacy and Freedom
Yeah.
podcast,
Oh yeah.
and even what I'm hearing right now, you are talking about the freedom portion, and now you get
Freedom.
into the privacy portion.
Yeah. So I'm trying with this podcast, I'm doing everything people have coached me not to do. And you know this because we've talked about this many times. You're supposed to go to it. What's the phrase? The niches or glitches or what is
No,
it?
the niches, the riches are in the niches or niches.
Yeah, something like
That
that.
depends how you say it, but yeah.
So that means focus on one thing, and that's where you'll make a lot of money. And a lot of people do that. I'm not like that. I want to talk about your privacy and your freedom when it comes to, your information. I want to talk about, cryptocurrency. I'm a big and people are like, what? What crypto? Because it's the new system. It's coming. Or actually, let me rephrase that. It's the new system. It's here. You can't stop it. You can sit back and watch it and get poorer because other people are going to get rich off of it. It's a new, absolutely new system. And then I like to talk about helping entrepreneurs in their businesses. Some of my classes, I've helped people completely change their life when it comes to business ideas and creating their business. And then the most important thing to me is my faith. And I want all this to come into a podcast where I can, at freedom, talk about all these different things. In my prepping academy, it's mostly about preparedness. And then I have crazy people on to talk about conspiracy theories. And you remember Kyle was my host for a while, and he's the biggest conspiracy theorist in the world. And then me and you, I mean, so, but this one is kind of like the complete everything that I want to talk about. And you know what? I'm hoping that I can have people from that are interested in all the different aspects. But I talk everything every time I talk about anything when it comes to privacy and security. I relate that to my faith. Anytime I talk about cryptocurrency, and I relate that to my faith, and people are like, "How do you do that?" And I'm like, "Hey, I can relate just about everything I do and say to my faith and to what I believe."
Well, I'm going to kind of jump ahead with that
Okay.
because I mentioned that earlier because you were talking about when in volleyball and all of that, and You saw that you had to make some life changes and your faith was involved with that. So let's talk about that. Like, how does your Christian faith, shape your views on all of these things that we're talking about? The privacy, the freedom, the
Mhm.
technology. Do you want to just what do you want to share about your Christian faith in all of
Yeah.
this?
So I came to know Jesus Christ in '86, and during my volleyball years, I really just ignored my relationship, and it really bothered me. And I knew what I was doing was wrong, so I had to quit volleyball. Probably the most successful time in my volleyball, and I quit at cold turkey. Doesn't make your partner happy when you do that, but I did, and then focus on my relationship with the Lord, and then but everything I do, I mean, I can't separate me and my faith at all now. I can't separate my own wants and needs from my faith. It is who I am. And I'm not complaining, but it's a new me for the last, really since like 1994. Um it's it's who I am. I mean, and you know this, and I don't want to sit here and brag, but I don't mean to, but everyone that meets me, they know my faith. I don't try to tick people off. I don't go over the line, but it comes out in me every day that I just talk and what I do. And you know this, and I'm going to just throw this out there. But one of the things when I got saved in '86 is the Lord told me, yes, He told me, and if you don't understand that, then um, you need to listen to my podcast. But the Lord told me, pressed on my heart that I was to work with youth. And so from '96, and and I mean, every year we've ever known each other, that's actually how we met,
Yeah,
was
through church, through
through the
church life.
church youth group.
Hmm.
Because I was a youth like pastor for a period of season. That didn't go well, mostly because of 10, t- I make statements, and you know what? And here's I'm gonna just be honest. I make statements that are truth to me, and if it's not truth to you, that's because it's just not truth to you. That's fine. But the kid problem we have today is the parents. It's not the kids. It's 100% the parents. And so when I was a youth pastor, I went to the pastor and said, dude, you've got to control these parents. They're unhinged. You've got to do something. And he wouldn't take the right steps. And so I said, okay, that's done. So I literally left that church and I said, okay, Lord, that didn't work out well. And then I became just a youth leader, and I worked at one of the biggest churches here in Charlotte for 14 years. And then I worked at the church we went to for like 14 years as just a youth leader, just a mentor to kids. And that was a part of my life. And a year and a half ago, roughly, it was time to step away because think, I think God's got me some different things to accomplish now. But in all my businesses, one of the verses in the Bible, and it says who can't take care of their family, and it literally says their relatives and their household, their own household. They've left the faith. They're worse than the unbeliever. So let's take that statement. The Bible says that anyone that can't take care of their family is worse than an unbeliever. That's my paraphrasing exactly kind of what it says. And so we've got to look, and I started looking at my life. Okay, I could lose my job. Okay, well, if I create my own income and can control that, I can maybe money wise take care of my family. Okay, what if a hurricane, tornado, disaster comes? Hmm, I need to set some food, have a plan, learn some skills so I can take, I mean, God didn't go, oh, whew, there's a disaster. I'm going to relieve you of that duty. He doesn't do that. So I'm still bound by what the Bible says to take care of my family, even during disasters. Can I fail? Yes, but the idea is to be ready and prepared and obey God, what God wants us to do. And then when it comes to my investing, God God doesn't care if you're rich or poor. He cares only about your heart. But with with I've been blessed, and so I have to take care of what I've given, that God's given me to the best of my ability. And if I just sit back, and I mean, there's a parable about this. The master, left town and gave some of his workers some coins, and the ones that just let it sit and didn't multiply it were punished. And the other ones that multiplied it, they were rewarded. And so, I mean, that story alone is like, okay, if we have any amount of money at all, we're supposed to multiply it. And the great thing is when you multiply it and you give it back to the Lord and you help other people, maybe God in a small way can use me to change people's lives and make people's lives better. And so
Yeah.
if you take and then the privacy and freedom, we don't know. We know that there's going to be a day that you cannot buy or sell because you're not in the devil's club. The Bible talks about this. There's going to be a day, it says, you will not be able to buy or sell goods because you're not in the devil's club. It's a membership card. And if you don't show it, you can't buy or sell. So we need to protect our privacy, get out of the system, and be ready for whatever God or the world throws at us. And be obedient to Christ in all the areas. I know I'm going totally, you know, you know, down the road of, just my Christianity and my faith, but I live that. And that's part of me. And I don't want to separate it as I communicate with people.
Well, yeah. Excuse me. Sorry. So, what I'm hearing, and I do know you, and I'm a believer myself, but I want to kind of make some connections for those who are listening. I think they can see the connections of if you listen carefully, how this all plays together. And so, for you to be able to talk on all these subjects makes sense because there's people out there. I hope that they believe in Jesus Christ as their Savior, but there's a lot of people out there that believe in something.
Hmm.
They can say they believe in nothing, but you believe in something.
Hmm.
But how does it all tie in? And what connects us, and what I think you've always done a good job, is that you connect to the people and where they are. People want freedom. You talk about freedom from systems. You just said it a moment ago. People want freedom in some capacity. There's a reason why they work. They want to be able to. That's why we are Americans. We want that freedom. We want to own stuff. We want to be able to use our money how we want to use it. But in that, we've got to be focused on our privacy, our security. We got to be able to take care of ourselves, take care of our family, take care of those around us. And and our faith as Christians, that is important because that's how we minister. That we do want to take care of those around us to be the hands and feet of Christ. And I think you do a good job of that. And so I want people to hear this connection. What you are saying, all of it connects. And I love that you titled it Privacy and Freedom, um, the Privacy and Freedom podcast. But in that, it's going to involve their finances, home-based businesses you mentioned, cryptocurrency you've mentioned. These things, like how does that come to play? How can you do that? And then your personal life. So
Hmm.
you're right. You can't separate for you your Christianity and your faith. And so people have to understand that all of this stuff ties together. So, you know, tell us more.
Okay.
about that. Tell us, some of the where you see people that maybe they're trapped and some of the privacy mistakes that they're making, and how can they be reach this freedom and make this connection for them.
Okay, so I'm glad you brought, I mean, it made me think some more. So the privacy part is everyone understands, but freedom, there's a lot of areas to be free, and I'm going to make some statements. So my total goal is to make people successful. Now, I do have the Christian spin behind it, yes, but mine is to make you successful. Be private, take your investments to a new level because I'm investing and making money and making investments every day, mostly in crypto right now. Um, and even make you a better father, a better mother, friend, family member. My goal for this podcast is totally to make you a better person. And am I saying I'm perfect? No, by no means. But to educate you on how to start a business, create a business, um, deduct things within your business, to invest, to learn more about faith and family and freedom in a sense. But I will say this. Um, I can help you get to the freedom part when it comes to maybe financially. No, no problem. If it's through investing or a business, um, I can help you with the privacy stuff. But the freedom, there's another level, and you can never, ever, ever experience freedom until you have a relationship with Jesus Christ.
Mm.
It just can't happen. I'm not going to force that on you by no means, but just know that I'm coming from that background and that from that teaching within my heart to help you and to help the listeners and the people that come to my academy is they'll see my passion. Matter of fact, my students tell me that the class is great. It's wonderful. But what we love is at the end when it's questions and answers, and we ask you questions that have nothing to do with the class. And then I rant and talk about my faith or what I did in a trade or other things that really are kind of, sidelined to the class. That's not what the class is about. But my goal is to make people better, and I think one of the ways I mean, I can help you with the trades, I can help you with business, all that, but that's worldly things. Um, and my goal is you hear my heart, you see the teachings, I share my teachings from my faith, and then that will challenge you or the listeners to get experience true freedom. I'm telling you, there's only one true freedom, and that's through the Bible and the Lord and Jesus Christ. Is
Yes,
that-
absolutely. And we can definitely learn through scripture a lot of great
Mhm.
principles and scripture being from the Bible. Um,
And I'm
and
writing a book on that right now, actually.
Oh, cool.
Yeah,
Well, yeah,
yeah.
and you've got several books, and you've already
Uh,
got books that relate to these topics that
mhm.
we've talked about.
Yeah.
Because you've studied these subjects, you've written about these things,
Mhm.
you've taught on these things, and making all these connections. But even with all of this, you know, um, you've talked a lot about the freedoms. You talked about the privacy. Help us make those connections of like even digitally,
Mhm.
um, because that's such a part of our life. You talked about the cryptocurrency. That's one of my many questions I have here. But in this self-sufficiency that you've talked about, prepping, and
Mhm.
people that may not think of, well, what is prepping? Essentially, it's self-sufficiency. How are you able to sustain yourself, take care of yourself,
Mhm.
in whatever manner, and take care of others even? But how do all of this? How do these things tie in together with digital freedom even?
Yes. So, first of all, you can't make any of these your life. You can't make them your God. So, but preparedness is very simple. I've written a book on that. I'm not sure if it's a good time to show, but it's called the Preparedness Roadmap. I've put together a course, haven't released it yet, on how to prepare you and your family ready for this. So, you know, you buy a lot of weird things in this. And so that's where the privacy comes in, and you just don't want everyone in the world knows that you got food or you have guns, you have ammo, and so again, it comes in. These two come in to protect you, um, and but the whole idea is to make people. I mean, so listen. It's like I think of a Green Beret. I mean, I was never bad enough to be a Green Beret, but a Green Beret is like a one-man army. I mean, they send in a Navy SEAL team. They can send in one Green Beret because it's just, and that's what you need to become a Green Beret in this world of control, and everything that this world does is try to control you and me. They want to control how much we give the government. They want to control the jobs, and then when we get salaries, or we get or pay raises. They want to control our investments. If you don't make a certain amount of money, you can't invest in these particular investment vehicles. And it's all about control, control, control. So what I want to do is to create a group of Green Berets when it comes to their finances, comes to their business, because we do things totally off, just weird. I mean, there are people in my life that like professions I don't ever give money to. And I want to teach people, hey, listen, don't hire a lawyer to do an LLC. It's just 15-minute piece of paper and you can do it yourself. And so the idea is to become self-reliant in all aspects of your life that matter. Spiritually, how to become a good father, absolutely a warrior, um, how to be a business leader in your community, how to protect your privacy so you're not subject to identity theft, title, fraud, which is in itself is a scam. But that's just, I mean, you'd have to take my class to understand that. But and then and then biblical principles in your life when you apply them, um, it's not that God's going to bless you, but He does. And so people need to know these things. And so to put it all together, I'm trying to make Green Beret. I'm not saying I'm the perfect Green Beret by any means, but I want to make men and women Green Berets for their family, for what they believe, their business, their own information. There's no reason people should know what you bought yesterday.
Mhm.
There's no reason that the government or Visa or your bank needs to know. And people are going, what? And I know it's crazy. There's no reason for them to know. There is no reason for people, I mean, Google to be reading every single email. Well, I have nothing to hide. Well, you know what? Every communist nation um, member of society said the same thing at one time. Well, I mean, the government, they're going to look at it. And so, I'm trying to put it all together in this podcast. And with some of my courses and the book, I'm writing a brand new book right now. Been working on it for, I don't know, just the beginning stages. It's been on my mind since 1993, this book. Matter of fact, the outline for this book was written in 1993. I shared it with you, didn't I?
Yes.
Trav? Yeah,
Yeah.
I wrote that in like 93, what I sent to you. And you're like, what? And that's the starting of this book. And the book's going to be great. And I feel it's a inspiration that the Lord's like, okay, now's the time to do this. But it's just to put everything together. Stop trying to impress your neighbor. Stop trying to impress, you know, anyone in the world. Let's work on you and your family and get it to a point where you have freedom, where you can literally go. I mean, this is foreign to a lot of people. You can go into a restaurant, spend $100 on food for you and your kids, and know that you're not in debt, and know that you have the money to pay this, and you just sit back and relax because you don't care, because you're out of debt. You got a handle on everything. So that's my goal in the podcast, is to help others, to make other people. I won't even say winners, because there's a lot of winners out there that are just don't get it.
Yeah.
I want these people to be Green Beret for their family, and hopefully maybe. I mean, listen, I don't sit back and just throw God stuff at you all the time. That's not the way to do it. You get to see what's going on in my life, and the idea is, watch how I live, watch how I do, and be open to what the Lord wants to tell you.
Well, yeah, and I think you do provide practical steps that anyone can apply and use. And just even like that analogy you had, like sitting in the restaurant, you're like, yeah, I can handle this. I can manage this. But you might see somebody even while they're at the restaurant that maybe you can reach out and help too.
Yes.
And that's something that always attracted me to come to your classes, your in-person classes, is the way you presented this, different than other people. I went to other prepping classes. I was like you, like I didn't even know what to call it when
Mhm.
I was like, oh, so is that what I am? I'm a prepper. Okay, okay. Whether the military made me that or upbringing, whatever, a combination. But I loved how you always thought of others, and you do incorporate that,
Mhm.
um, you know, with this. So I think it's going to be healthy for people's mindset to sit here with your podcast, and to hear some of these things, and that kind of leads me to the closing. I've got like two or three questions I want to ask you. Um, uh, so we want to give some people some practical. I think there's a storm going on
Oh yeah,
currently
I
while
hear
we're
it too. We're pretty
so
close. We're
it's
pretty
like
close. He's just down the road from me, everyone.
so but uh I want to people to leave with something today as well in this
Mhm.
podcast, something practical. So what is one thing that someone can do today to become more free? What is something that you can share with us?
I think the best thing someone can do is usually when a lot of people think of freedom, and we're not going the spiritual route. We're just going through finance because everyone's a burden to debt and everything. Is to create a home-based business and study. Matter of fact, and not, but there's many people that write good books, but I got one called Entrepreneurship for Survival book that I've written, and it's about creating a home-based business. And what the even if you don't sell a product for the first year or second year and you don't make any money, you can actually take business losses and deduct it on your taxes on your W-2. So you have your W-2, and let's just making this up, $100,000 for you and your wife, and your business spends $6,000, $8,000 in getting the business up and running, some training, you buy a new iPhone, buy a new laptop, you can take that deduction from the $100,000, and now your taxable income is only $92,000. Also, the government says you can pay a child um, tax free, like $14,500 a year. You can pay them $14,500 a year if you do sell some products or whatever. Even if you don't, if you pay them out of your own money from the business, um, then you could deduct that. The child doesn't pay taxes. You don't pay employee taxes on it at all, and you're going to spend $14,000 on your kid anyway. So why not get a deduction for it? So I would say the number one thing is to do is probably create a business. Also, you can put your investments, if you have any investments, in an LLC, and if someone ever sues you, they can't get to your investments. And that's another thing that we talk about. So let me tell you real quick. The podcast is going to be like this. And if it's not your cup of tea, I hope it is. But we're going to do one live recording every week. You can come on YouTube, you can ask questions. I may have a guest, and it could be just me ranting and raving or teaching something. And throughout the week, I'm going to do and I told Travis, this is what I'm worried about the most. I'm going to turn my camera on, put it on selfie stick, and say, hey guys, I just want to share something with you today. This and this and this and this happened in the market, or this new law just changed for home based businesses, or this is what the Lord was sharing with me this morning. Or, hey, this is something you need to do on your computer right now because there's a vulnerability that hackers can take advantage of. And I'll do that through the week, that's the scariest thing because I've never done that. Um, and just myself and where do I go? People watching me. So I'm going to figure that out. But there's going to be a constant though. One night a week we'll do a live video, what they call this, a podcast, video cast or whatever. And you can come on, you can send questions before. And if I don't know the answers, I'll be honest, I'll probably make it up. No, I won't. No,
You'll
but
come back.
yes, but I don't know the answer. I'll tell you. But I've been doing crypto for a long time.
Yeah.
Crypto's been very, very good to me. Um, and I've done business for a long time. Don't know, I won't know all your questions, I mean, your answers by any means. Won't be able to answer them. But, I was going to say this earlier. I've, I don't know how to say this. I've never been the smartest guy in the room, but I've been successful by brute forcing life. I want to learn. I don't know about anything about crypto, and I just plowed down and plowed. And me and you, we've lost a lot of money in crypto, have we not?
Yeah.
And we were learning so much. That was an education to crypto.
Yeah.
And now I'm like,
It was.
whoa, it was an education, and we lost a lot of money. We did a lot of dumb things in crypto many years ago. Five
But
years.
let me say it was
Okay.
we lost it, but it was something that we could afford to lose.
Right.
It wasn't
Yes.
like we went into debt or whatever.
Right.
Well, maybe other than that one thing. No, joking.
Well, I had one kid I had to get rid of. Okay. No, but I brute force. So we learned it and we lost one and wins. Same thing with business. I mean, not every business I've ever touched has been successful, but I brute force because things don't come natural to me. If you read a book, I read books different. I buy the book, I listen to the book, and then I ask AI to summarize the book to make sure I got everything in there. Um, some people could just read it and get it. I have to just everything is seems more difficult for me, and I don't mind it. I don't mind it. If I sit here and complain about it, I mean that's what losers do, and I don't want to be a loser. But
Yeah.
that's what the podcast is going to be about, is what I'm going through, what I see, things that can help you. But one week we'll have, and that be maybe on Monday nights, maybe on Tuesday. I don't know what night it's going to be. I'm going to have to decide pretty quickly.
Well, that was actually the next question I was going to have, but you talked about some of the topics and what
Mhm.
listeners can expect with the podcast. Did you talk about any of the guests that you may
Oh,
have?
no, I haven't, but I've got many guests. I mean, let's start at the top. Donald J. Trump probably won't be on my podcast,
We can work
but
on that. We can try.
but I will have someone that knows him.
Yeah.
I will, and I know exactly. It's a lady, and she knows Donald Jr. and she's in that arena. She's a successful business lady. She's 40 years old, very successful business lady. She's going to be on my podcast. I won't. I don't want to make this an interview podcast, but I'm going to bring. I have a lot of friends. Like I have a guy that runs a business. I mean, just between me and you, don't tell anybody this.
Okay.
He literally, it's called Rent the Chicken.
Oh yeah.
Rentthechicken.com. You can get a chicken coop, six chickens, feed, water, everything you need. They'll deliver it to your house and you pay about $15 an egg. That's kind of what it comes out. And you're like, what? Why would I do that? It's the experience for people in the city to not own the chickens and,
Mhm.
for their families and to get started. And um, and he's a good friend. I'm sure I'll bring him on because he was on Fox News one night on Tucker Carlson back when Tucker was on Fox News. And it was so incredibly popular, they had him the entire next day on every segment because of his business. And
Oh,
he's making a ton of, his business is very successful. So we'll have
s-
people, different people, and people sharing their faith as well. So yes, it's going to be. I'm going to have a friend of mine that's really, really popular, not who you think, but in the crypto world, but another guy. Because I knew the biggest crypto guy in the
yeah,
world, but
but
there was
there's,
some
yeah, we won't,
problems came.
yeah, we won't talk about that.
Yeah, we won't talk about that.
Not on our part. It
Yeah,
was anyway,
yeah,
but
nothing to do with us.
still something we pray for that
Yeah,
person. But
yes, we do pray.
but you it's funny that you said that because some of the guests and everything, and that particular guest that you were talking about with the chicken, uh, the business owner there, the rent, what was it
Rent
called
the
again?
chicken. Rent the chicken.
Rent the chicken. So some of the stuff that I have learned from you and the people that
Hmm.
I've met, I told an actual um, teacher that teaches about business and entrepreneurship at a high school level. I was actually sharing some of this information with him, and he's been using. So, like, I'm his secret weapon. So he's
Okay.
actually been using some of your stuff
Oh,
in his class, and he highlighted that particular guest and some others that I told him, and he's like, "Dude, you're like my secret sauce to create my curriculum." And I was like, "It's not me, but I'll take the credit."
so let me tell you everyone a quick story here. And I know you, but anyway, so Travis had this business idea. And I said, Travis, you got to do it. We talk 3 weeks later, Travis, you got to do it. We talk 3 weeks later, Travis, you got to do it. And finally, what did I threaten you to really get you motivated and get started?
Well, you said that if you don't do it, if I don't do it, you were going to do it.
I said,
So,
Travis, if you
yeah,
don't do it, I'm going to do it. And
yeah,
all of a sudden, Travis started knocking things out and getting things done.
yeah. And it's not, and I'll be honest with people, it's not been easy because then I found out where I'm weak at.
Mhm,
I found out what I'm really good at, what I'm confident in. But then there was other things that I'm weak at, and that's where you and I've, connected and connected with others.
mhm,
And I think that's what's been great about your course is the courses that you've had is just connecting with others like, hey, this is where I struggle.
mhm,
And then, like you said, you may not have had answers, but man, the places, I won't share the places we hang out, but um, some of the places we've hang out, there's other business owners and stuff like that, and
right.
they've been able to help in those areas that we're weak. And that's the beauty of it is
Mhm.
that you're bringing all of this together. So I'm excited about the podcast um,
And you'll be
because
on it. I'm sure I'm going to bring you
yeah,
on. I
yeah,
mean, I couldn't imagine doing a podcast without you.
about without Tenderfoot, bringing
Yeah, without
Tenderfoot back,
Tenderfoot.
and now everybody knows.
The
Really,
rest
you have
of
to
the
go back
story.
and look.
The rest of the story.
Yeah, they'll find out the rest of the story. And
That's Paul Harvey.
I still love to this day because no one knew who Tenderfoot was, the reveal. So you
Hmm.
got to go back to some of the past podcasts
Hmm.
that he had at the Prepping Academy, and that one was a video, and that was during the pandemic, and I think I wore a dinosaur head because
Did
no one
you?
knew. Yeah,
Oh, okay.
you didn't even know. He's like,
I don't
what
remember.
is this idiot doing? He's coming on my because no one knew who I was, and I didn't want to show him. I didn't want to just like who's this bald guy? So I took the dinosaur head off. I think I
Oh,
did.
and by the way, Travis is great. Travis is an ordained pastor. He's a technology guru. He's a video guru. I mean, and the best, he's a great father. So,
Thank you, man.
and the man of the family, meaning the spiritual leader. So that's
Yeah,
awesome. I mean, that's why we get along so well. We
Well,
can make fun of each other.
yeah. Oh yeah. Well, just like with the service and everything else, and
Yeah.
we'll do that. And I think that's what makes it fun.
Hmm.
Is we make it fun and we make fun of each other. But dude, thank you for
Hmm.
the opportunity,
Thank you.
and to be able to interview with these. There's still so many more questions, but like I said, we'll follow some of this stuff up in the
Hmm.
podcast. Yeah, if you would help me back and we'll bring up some of these things. But before we go, is there like one last thing? Do you have anything that you want closing out that you want to say? Maybe something we
Yeah.
missed that you had on your heart or mind that you wanted to share?
Yeah. Okay. So right now I'm writing a book. It's going to be the book of all books. To me, it's going to be everything that I have done is going to come into this book. It's like a self-help book. And it's going to that book, and I'm not pushing it because I haven't, we're getting into chapters now, but it's going to be exactly kind of the podcast coming out in real life. And if anyone, if you know anything about me, my objective is always to make people better and more successful and having fun and loving Jesus all in the same kind of if you can mix it all in a bowl, that's it. That's who I am. And I hope it comes out in the podcast. So I want you, I'm begging you, I want 100,000, 500,000, a million people, because this is, imagine if we get the good people in the world that care about this kind of stuff and we multiply and we multiply and multiply and multiply and we literally, we make a million, 2 million, 4 million people over a period of time successful, private, understanding the crypto markets and investment markets, understanding the freedoms of a home-based business, and how that's the people we want in America and as our neighbor. And it's how to make the world a better place. It really is. That's my passion. That's what I'm writing about in my book. That's what I hope comes from the podcast. So share everything. Absolutely demand your friends. Say, listen, if you're not going to watch him on Monday night, I'm not going to be your friend anymore.
You're gonna die.
Yeah, or you're going to. So
Yeah, if you know Forrest, you know that phrase. We need to get a shirt
there've been
made.
shirts made. I taught one night, and as
Oh
I'm
yeah.
teaching, people stood up. And so one of the things I say, if you don't have a community of people, and bad things happen to within your family, like health issues or a disaster happens. If you're not in a community of people, my statement is you're gonna die because you got to have the support.
Yeah,
And that's a phrase that's been carried with me for a long time.
that's funny.
Kind of a joke, but not.
Right.
So
Well, awesome. Uh, again, Forrest, I thank you for this. I'm looking forward to it. The Privacy and Freedom podcast. And yeah, I can't wait to see how this pans out. And I know it's a process as well. I get it. All of this stuff is, and it's growing. And so I hope that the audience that's listening to this interview will grow with you, and there'll be more people that come along. And man, I can't wait to see where this lands and ends up in just even 5 years from now. I think it's going to be tremendous because this information is happening quick in our society right now, and this is the time we can't delay on this stuff. I mean, I just can't get over how quick AI has moved.
yes,
So we've
we will
got
talk a
to.
lot about AI too.
I
So
know, and that's what I'm saying. So this stuff is going. This
mhm.
podcast is going to grow really quick in time. So I'm looking forward to what the future holds.
Yeah, thank you, Travis. And also, I want everybody to know that um, I'm not a tech techno person like Travis. So as this goes on, I'm going to be calling Travis. We usually talk to each other like at midnight.
Yeah.
And because I have technical questions or whatever, and so but Travis is going to help. He doesn't know this actually. I'm volunteering him right now. He's going to help me do a lot of
Voluntold.
this thing to be successful. That's what friends are for. You know what I mean? You got to have great friends in your life. So, but thanks for this interview. And guys, thank you for joining us. It's been awesome. It's been good questions,
Yeah.
even from you.
All right. Thank you. I appreciate it. I got to figure out a way to sign out. I don't know how to sign out from a podcast,
That's
but
all, folks. I don't know.
all
Anyway,
right.
well, we'll just end it. Thank you, Travis, for doing this
You
and
bet, man.
having
Thank
me.
you.
hmm Good night, everyone.
Good night.